Interesting stories related to your work. In a very busy restaurant on a Saturday night, I forgot to ring up a customer's second glass of wine. Sometimes drinks can take up to 15 minutes to come out when we are slammed, and after he told me the second time, it was taking a while to come up. This table had already had apps, a round of drinks, and were waiting on entrees. The long wait time on the glass of wine set the customer off. He was going up to the bar screaming about the wine and yelled in my face about it. Their entrees were taking a long time as well. They had ordered a lasagna that has a very long cook time, after demanding that their food be served now to me, screaming about the long wait time. The wife of the man was following me around as I was serving food to other tables and got in my face asking and demanding again as to where the entrees were, as I had hot plates of other people's food balanced in my hands. I was begging the expo to get their food out, and as I was finally walking to the table with it, this couple was kneeling in their booth to make themselves taller and waving their arms to make big excess with their forearms to me. They refused the entrees because they had taken so long, screamed at me again and at my manager, and left in a huff without eating. The entitlement and audacity of senior citizens to throw a tantrum and have no ability to read the room and see that literally every table was full and therefore things take time was astounding. I will always remember their bratty shitty behavior. I had a group of older guests in for lunch. One man vomited the entire way through the restaurant, from table to toilet, and then all over the bathroom. Another gent came and told me, and said he's old and has dementia. I was like, okay, I guess, and cleaned it all up. I did sympathize at first. This man then proceeded to eat lunch, have a glass of wine, and then do it again. I was so upset. I cleaned it all up again, and the friend who I'd spoken with the first time made a joke to me about it. Kind of like, what are you gonna do? I just replied, this isn't really appropriate for a restaurant. So fucking disgusting. Go home. I worked at a bar that had its own docks on a lake, so people who owned and lived on boats would pay to dock and live there, usually during the summer. There are a myriad of problems with this, but the main one was that since they lived there, they never drove, so the technicalities included these guys being at the bar and being able to drink a majority of the day without getting cut off. So we would watch them wake up around 11-ish a.m., stroll over the docks, come up to the patio, and hop on a bar stool until about 7 to 8 p.m. There was one guy who just took total advantage of this and would sit at a stool, get so drunk he would piss his jorts, then demand hugs from the wait staff. Deplorable. Another time, mid-COVID, I had a customer straight up, just openly sneeze on my arm as I was setting a plate down on their table. I was absolutely horrified at the blatant biological situation she just assaulted me with. I went to the dish pit and scalded my arm good with that hot dish water. People are nasty. I was the chef in a care home. We had a new resident that apparently had the habit of wandering off into quiet hallways and aggressively masturbating. Never saw it, but the mental image was enough to ensure I never shook his hand-nauseated face. One particular afternoon, I went to leave the kitchen and saw him stood by the hot locker, with what looked like a jacket potato on top. In the 5 seconds it took my brain to register that I'd made fish cakes for lunch, the smell hit. I immediately went back into the kitchen, forbade my kitchen assistant to leave, and had to rush out to inform someone. That someone was the big, scary financial director, and one of the owners. I was desperately trying to inform him of the situation, but as I have Tourette's, I was really struggling to get my words out. I ended up yelling at the top of my lungs, "Colin shat in my hot box." To his credit, he leapt into action and raced off to address the situation. I quickly told my kitchen assistant what was going on, which she replied, "Oh, I was just going to go off and have my break." Rude. This was the moment that the hilarity of the situation hit, and I was hanging onto my prep table to keep me upright. Gave myself a full-blown asthma attack, had tears running down my face, and all I could hear was panicked voices and gagging sounds from the other side of my kitchen door. After half an hour, Big Scary Boss came into the kitchen, wearing a set of 2 small scrubs, and told me that they'd all heard me losing it for the entire time they were chasing an octogenarian around the dining room, whilst he was apparently reaching around and scooping more shit, throwing it at them. Apparently his aim was extremely accurate, hence the scrubs, and then angrily masturbating with shitty hands. I was crying laughing, amazed that I hadn't wet myself and wheezing for breath. Big Boss then informed me that if this resident did it again, I'd be doing the cleanup. That set me off even more, especially when I pointed out that I can't go anywhere near bodily fluids in my chef whites. Big Boss looked unimpressed, then muttered, "Ah, bollocks, I'm too old for this shit," to which I instantly replied, "That's not what he said."